Okay, so today, guys, I'm going to be telling you some camping stories, like camping scary stories, camping horror stories, that'll make you never want to go camping again. Let's get on with it. So, the first story I'm going to tell you is called A Strange Sound in the Woods. So, anyways, a few years back, OG Dinosaur, an archaeologist, was among a group of people doing a survey in the middle of a forest. The crew had gone home, but only OG Dinosaur and her boss were left to finish up some mapping. Miles away from the furthest town, they made their way further into the bush. About an hour out, as soon as they arrived, the entire area felt off. OG Dinosaur and her boss pushed the feeling away in the favor of their work. About 15 minutes in, they hear a loud whomp sound. Both stopped, thinking the sound must have been their imagination. Then they heard it again. This time it was so loud that they both felt pressure on their bodies and got goosebumps all over. They fled the site as quickly as possible. A decade later, thinking about it still freaks OG Dinosaur out. And that's how that story ends. But the next story is called When the Saints Go Marching In. So let's do this. I don't know. I literally don't know why I did it that. Like, it makes no sense. I don't know. But here we go. A Kiesler and his girlfriend were on a road trip through California when they found a relatively empty campsite. They set up camp, made dinner, and went to bed. In the middle of the night, they were awoken by someone whistling outside their tent to the tune of When the Saints Come Marching In. They laid in utter silence, hoping the singing person would go away. But then the whistling turned to chanting. When you sleep here, you disrespect me, and when you disrespect me, you disrespect the U.S. Marines. The Reddit user knew they needed to get out. Yeah, probably. In the middle, they quietly climbed from their tent into their truck and drove to a motel in the neighboring town. The next morning, they drove back to the campsite to retrieve the belongings they'd left behind. As they were leaving, they paused at a site adjacent to where they had slept, where a family had been staying. The family told the Kistler that the singing stop had continued for another 2 to 3 hours after they'd left, and it was one of the creepiest things they'd ever experienced. Yeah, I would freak out. Anyways, the last story that we're actually going to be talking about in this video is called When in Florida, You May Meet a Serial Killer. When Dr. Jim Danger was 18, he and some friends took a road trip to some national park in Tallahassee, Florida. Their goal was to get away from people, so they found themselves driving far into the woods. After they set up camp and had a few drinks, the writer and a friend decided to explore the surrounding forest. They found another trail and started following it. But the further they went, the more apparent it became that someone was living there. Eventually, they came to the campsite of an older man who was living out of his van. His clothes were strung up, coolers were scattered around, and a dog sprawled beside the van. The user and his friend tried to back out without being seen, but the man caught sight of them and called them over. He asked them friendly questions and offered up some places they should check out in the park. After about 10 minutes of talking, they returned to their own campsite. The man was a little strange, but seemed perfectly harmless. But fast forward 2 months, and the Reddit user's friend calls and tells him to turn on the television. There on the screen was the man they met in the woods that night, on trial for 4 murders. And yeah, that is it for that one, and that's it for the video. So, I forgot my outro for this channel. Oh shoot. Oh well, bye.